Hello and welcome to Iki Makansal's Makala podcast channel. Makala, meaning branches, Kasisutu. My name is Amanda Masondo and I'm your host. We hope this podcast finds a way to impact, educate, and inspire your next. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Buzzsprout. Basically everywhere where you find your podcast fix. Every first and last Friday of every month. Hello, and welcome to Hikima Council's Makala podcast. I am your host, Amanda Masondo, and as per usual, I'm giving you the best guests that you have ever heard of in Africa, on the South African continent, in the world, basically. Entrepreneurs that are doing amazing work in their various spheres. My guest today, Bonnie. You see, because I knew that was going to happen. I just knew because she looked at me. Bonnie Meslane. Welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I don't want to tell people how long it took me to get you here because you were a bit of a, she was difficult, because, she says she's not the story. Her clients are the story. Yeah. She's behind the scenes and she doesn't want, her name to be out there. She doesn't want us to know that she's doing amazing work. Why?
And I don't lie though. My clients are the work. I do so many things that deserve to be, talked about. But I think one of the things is not wanting to be on screen or on public platforms because
people have to know, Bonnie. People have to know. So let me give you a little bit of a teaser. Bonnie is a publicist. She's a PR agent extraordinaire. She's a brand and talent manager. She's a writer. She's a content producer. Is there anything else that you don't do, ma'am?
I don't commit crime.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't commit crime. But look, you've said it all. Like I do all of those things. I run a magazine called Nunush Magazine. I own a publicity company called Azania Public. I am at Kaya FM, Kaya 959. I am their content marketing specialist. And that's one of my favorite jobs right now. Yes.
Because I will come back to that because this radio bug does seem to bite you every now and again. We'll come back to that. I know that you were, almost did like an entire show thing there. We won't go into.
Okay.
We'll come back.
Cool.
Give us a background. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Anduli. That's in the Eastern Cape, just outside of Mthatha. Grew up there and I went to school Mthatha at St. John's College. And then I went to the Walter Sisulu University and I studied politics.
You studied politics?
Yes, I did. So public administration and politics. Yes.
And
so then governance is my thing.
Is your thing. And then we get into PR and communications. How?
I've always wanted to be in the media space and I've always wanted to be a writer, everything. I think a lot of the things that I do right now are things that I wanted to do when I was much younger. So I read a lot of magazines, I wrote a lot, I would draw, I would watch a lot of TV, listen to a lot of radio. I knew every feature on all the shows, to the stations I used to listen to. I would sketch, put together fashion pieces. I would make my own clothes sometimes. I did a lot of creative stuff and I had all the latest magazines. So Nunush was born from those things, from those experiences, from my childhood, because I read a lot and I just knew what I'd want to be. So studying politics was not necessarily a thing that I thought about. I found myself in that class and I was like, okay, cool, this sounds great. Let's do it.
Not too bad, yeah.
Not too bad. But also I'm really grateful that I got to study that in particular because I apply a lot of the things that I studied in what I do right now because it's all about public perception and public relations. How I got into it, after school, I remember I wanted to audition.
Yes.
For a show.
Yes.
Coaster of Pictures had announced that they were looking for talent and they were going to, look for actors. And I thought, I was going to kill it.
Yeah. You were like, I'm the girl. I'm the one you've been waiting for.
Listen, I was the girl. And I was speaking to Fidel and Wandile Mulibatsi and I was just like, guys, I'm in the Eastern Cape. I'm coming to Joburg. I'm going to do this. And they're like, yes, girl. But then I was late. I couldn't get to Joburg on time. But then they called me. They were like, we need your help. We need like an assistant wardrobe person and an art director. are you keen to do it? And I said, 100%.
Yeah.
I had never done it before, but I knew I was going to do it and be great at it. And I walked into that set and we were shooting like a short film from Zanzi Magic.
Yeah.
And I worked with very amazing people. It was a beautiful set. I was still friends with a lot of people that I met that, on that set. It was interesting. That was my first job.
Hectic.
After that, I found Nzinga Kunda. She used to own Juicy Africa, a magazine.
Yes.
Not too different to what I'm doing right now. I wrote for her, and that's also how I got into public relations, because I wrote a lot of music pieces, and Black Coffee's company, Solistic Music at the time, they're like, we like you. Come work here. And I said, as what? Because I only know how to write. And they're like, you're going to write about us. And that's how I got into PR. But because I was already attending a lot of events with a lot of journalists, so I knew who to pitch a story to. It was easy for me to make those calls and get stuff done. After a while at Solistic, I left and I joined Total Exposure. That was my University of Public Relations.
Okay.
Because then I got to do PR across the board. So a lot of the things that I love, the CSI, the social justice stuff, the social change driven stuff, I got to do through Total Exposure, but also like a lot of entertainment stuff. So some of my accounts were Viacom at the time, which is now Paramount. They had MTV, BET, Comedy Central, MTV Base. So those were my accounts. I remember we did a Castle Lager thing with Pro and Prime Circle. That is exciting.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes, we did Delicious for a few years.
Yeah.
We did The Summers. We did like a lot of exciting stuff. The Nicki Minaj, when she was here, I was the lead publicist for that. It was exciting. So after leaving Total Exposure, I decided, okay, cool. I want to do my own thing. And I was torn between doing my own thing or studying further, because then at that time I wanted to do international relations.
Yes.
And don't ask why that, because I love what I do right now, but I wanted to study that.
Yeah.
But then I ended up doing my own thing, opening my own company, and this is where I am now.
The world of entrepreneurship. So according to you at that time, what did entrepreneurship mean to you at that time?
Look, I think it's an important conversation to have with a lot of creatives, because a lot of us have the best ideas and we know how things are going to look like. We visualize it, we see it, and we have this dream, and it's going to be great. But the business side of things, not so much. I did not see myself as one. I didn't think I was going to be great at running and managing a business. It's not something that I can say I'm 100% great at. But because also you're not fully equipped. You just know that you can do this PR thing and you're great at, publicizing things and people, but not necessarily the business of
behind it.
Do you understand? So I think that was my challenge for a bit, where I was just like, okay, cool. Now, how do I charge people? How do I say I want this much? How do I, a lot of the monetary stuff. But the ideas, the brilliance is there, and the creativity is there. But now merging it with the actual business side of things was a challenge for me at first.
Yeah. Okay. But now you've been doing it for a bit of time now. Now you've learned the ropes, and there's certain things that you can consider yourself an expert on, right? Some things. There must be something. Nobody publicist is you. I only know very few of you guys in the country, right? That are able to, especially in the entertainment industry, where a lot of people don't know that they can actually acquire the skill and get somebody to actually do this thing for them, and instead of trying to struggle through it and do it themselves. Now that you are here now, what have been some of the lessons that you've learned?
I think one of the things I'd say to people, and it is a lesson, it was a lesson for me too. I think it's very important to fully establish who you are. Be curious enough to know who you are and why you are that person, and why you are the way that you are, and why you chose the career that you've chosen. Because a lot of people chase the fame and think being a publicist is about being at the forefront of things. You are serving your client. You are serving the media. When Amanda says, I want a press release, I want pictures, I want this, they want that, and you have to give them quality. And also you have to turn to your client and make sure that they're happy and they're getting results. So you are always the last person. If you're not a person who is purpose driven, or rather who is about serving, like servanthood. Because the PR is about that. You have to serve the person. You have to serve. And if you don't have the heart for people, you won't really do well in PR. So you have to be able to put your ego aside and be humble enough to know that, okay, cool, I need to update my list because now Amanda is no longer where she was before. She's moved to wherever. You always have to be a curious mind is going to serve you so well. But some of the lessons I'd say, outside of just chasing the fame, people want the fame and it's not for you to chase. Do your work, let your work speak for you. Then people like Amanda will call you to come and speak on things that you should not be speaking on. You know what I'm saying? But that's if you do your job well, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
you are doing very well.
Thank
That's
you.
why you
Fantastic.
are here.
You heard that. You heard that. So other lessons would be equipping yourself financially. Equip yourself, learn, have a relationship with money. And also be able to save your money. If you have a team, that's another lesson. Find a great team. Compatibility is so important with your workplace. Are you compatible with the space that you're in, with the people that you work with? Because nowadays, it's different to when we started. People will tell you, oh, this place is toxic, I'm leaving. Okay.
Oh. All right.
Okay. Saying this space is going to be toxic, guys, but you also have to know, because I think one of the challenges that we face with dealing with talent, and when I say talent, I mean people that get to work in the space that we work in.
Yes.
I do want people to be kinder, right? As leaders, as managers in the space that we're in, we have to be kinder. But at the same time, people need to do their jobs and do their jobs so well that people should not be chasing you to do what you need to do. Ambition can't be taught. There are certain things that I can teach you that, okay, you need to put together a list like this. This is how you draft a press release, and you have to read it and make sure that it's well written. Don't send things that are not well thought out to clients or to the media or to whoever, right? So there are certain things that you can teach, but there are things that you can't teach. Ambition, the drive, the work ethic, you need to have it. You need to have it without saying, because if I'm asking for something, if I say, where's the report that we're supposed to hand in at 3 p.m., I'm not being toxic. I'm asking for what you get paid for. It's your job. You should be. So the human challenge is there. The human challenge is there where people don't want to do their jobs. They want to be spoon fed. Listen, when I went to TE, baby, let me tell you. I was trained by the best in PR. I was trained by exceptional people, but also I was given room to make my own mistakes, but also to get things done. You could never slack. On Friday, you have to hand in your report, your clippings, everything is done. You have no excuses. You can't make excuses. You have to show up, and you can't present shoddy work. You understand? So I don't understand, because I come from that school. So I don't understand when you have to present something
and it's not done, and it's toxic.
Yes.
And it's too hard.
It's not too hard. And my thing is that I think my toxic trait is that I can do it because I've done it before, and I know how it's done, and I can always do it.
You don't understand the difficulty.
So and also, why is it taking you 7 hours to complete when it can take me an hour to complete? Do you understand? And also, why are you not asking for help? Because it's another thing. People don't want to ask for help. So it's a challenge, because now you're delaying the process. You're delaying the entire chain because you're too proud to ask. It's all important to ask. You don't know everything, and I don't know everything. I always ask.
Sure. That's very interesting. No one's ever actually said and spoken about people skills that are required, right? People always talk about funding and the lack of funding, but actually the people skills within the business are equally as important, because if you're going to be a manager, if you're going to be somebody that's in charge of people, you sort of have to navigate that, right? All the kind of personalities that are involved in a business. Sure. All right.
I mean, also that is a lesson for me too. It took me a long time. And I've got an amazing team with my magazine. I've got an amazing team in the PR side of things. And I've got people that are able to deal with people way better than I can.
So you're given an opportunity to move away from
that. Because I don't want someone to go write a blog that Bonnie was toxic. Do you understand? So I'd rather have someone who's going to tell you they want their work in professional English.
And the thing about it is, the trick is that you've empowered your business by giving somebody else that responsibility, because you've already introspected and you are aware you may not necessarily have that skill, but you've given it to somebody else who does.
No, I think self-awareness is something very important. I think we just talk about it for vibes, like it's like some silly thing, but it's so important. It makes you a better person. There are certain things I know that I suck at, and this is why I have to hire people that are great at those things because they make me look good.
Yeah. Okay. Let's backtrack a little bit. Azania Public. Talk us through, what do your clients get when they walk into that kind of platform? What do you offer?
Excellence.
Oh.
Yeah, brilliance. We give quality. I mean, and I say this because, and I say this confidently, and I say this in a very humble way also, because I know I've worked very hard to build Azania Public to what it is today, and I know the difficulties I've been met with on the road, like on my journey in this business, and it hasn't been easy. But it's a very special baby of mine. So people that come to us, they know that they're getting quality PR. They are going to be taken care of, because also we have a thing where we don't just take on anyone. We have to care about your business. We have to care about you and want the best for you and understand your story and what it is that you want to communicate. So having to take on work for the sake of, because you want money. Money is important. I need money. You know what I'm saying? But it's important to be able to also offer quality. And I've got a lady who's one of like my, I'd say, indirect mentors. Anelem Tata gives me work. But I always have to make sure that I am going to best represent her by giving quality. So she keeps coming because she knows what she's getting from me. And also respecting your clients is so important. Showing up for them. And our work is very, you can say you have an off day or a public holiday or whatever. If they call and say, we need this, you have to be up and be able to do it. So you can't make excuses. And I think PR, understanding that publicity is a lifestyle. So you are always working, you're always thinking of better ideas of how to make your client look better and look good and sound good, and all of these wonderful things that you can add value or to their lives and to their businesses. So you always have to be thinking.
I love that. Entrepreneurs, I don't know how many of them know that they need PR or any kind of communication in-house. How important do you think it is to introduce that kind of being deliberate about your communication and comms within entrepreneurship?
It's very important. And I think a lot of people, like you said, they don't really value it. They don't see it as important. And I see it also, like if you look into the music industry as well, and in the acting industries as well, it's always the last thing people think of. It's always the last thing. And one thing that they always want to take shortcuts in as well, and to pay you at, because they don't see the importance of having it. And I think for people who are starting their businesses, or rather even like, managing and running big businesses, you need a very effective communications team. And also, like, because there will be a crisis, you need to have a team that's already understanding and fully on board with what your company is about and what your story is, and be able to clean up a mess if there is, but also to communicate to stakeholders and also to potential clients.
Okay. What would you say? I know that you do a lot of, you have a lot of artists, right? That are under your portfolio. There's a lot, if I'm not mistaken, is there a lawyer? There's a law firm. Lots of people, lots of clients.
There's a law firm, there's an accounting firm, there's, record companies, there's, we do a lot of CSI work as well. There's an illustrator, artist, Masoma Betloko. There is,
hello. We're also reaching out to you, so please do find us.
We do a lot of work, which is also very varied. It's also very, I just like that it's not the same thing. I just like that it's not the same thing.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, what are some of the differences? How are you finding the various sectors that you have to tap into? Because I can assume that every sector is different and its hurdles are different. How are you guys navigating that?
Look, it's very different. We have an AI company that we work with, Lilapa AI. So all of these very different. I suppose the method is the same. We know we put together the plans. The steps are similar. It's just that you know that you're speaking to a different audience for each one.
Yeah.
And the communications plan is going to be different for each one.
Okay.
And how you respond to things is going to be very different to each one. And some don't necessarily need like active PR like a musician would. So the law firm, for instance, we have been with them for like 2-3 years now, and it's different things that they're looking for, and also like thought leader pieces, and if there are big events, anniversary events, seminars, those kind of things, compared to like a record company that has like 5 artists releasing an album or a single or an EP or whatever. And that is like a very fast-paced environment that needs quick responses, planning events now, doing all those, like, putting together guest lists and all that stuff. So it's quite different. Yeah.
And then the digital magazine. So then you start that up. I don't know where you're finding the time, but somehow that comes about. In an age where everybody's saying, oh, we're not everybody, print is going down. It's no longer the medium that people prefer. Here you are. How did that come about? Second baby.
Listen, that's my favorite baby. I mean, that's
Is parents supposed to say that? Good to hear your favorite baby.
All my babies are special. All my children are
Thank you
special.
for clarifying.
So Nunush is my youngest baby. It was founded in 2021, end of 2021, yeah. It was supposed to be a fashion line with myself and Tamara Liedenberg, who's one of my close friends. And she then moved to Germany for a job at one of the best fashion houses ever.
So she was like,
my God. But I was so happy for her because she's that girl. She's a fashion girl.
Yeah.
So I then said, okay, cool, I'm going to wait for you to settle and then we can, continue our plans.
Reconfigure, yeah.
And then the settling became a long time. And I'm not a patient girl. So I said, you know what? Let's maybe do this one for now. So we started Nunush, a publication that seeks to celebrate Black people, primarily brown people. It's lifestyle. It's sport, it's food, it's music, it's events, it's amazing people who don't have to be famous, but as long as you are a wonderful, great person and excelling at what you do and where you are and you're impacting the community in a beautiful way, we celebrate you, we see you, we love you, we want to talk about you, we want to give you flowers. That's what we do.
But in Makala, it sounds like the same thing. Yeah?
It sounds like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to adopt us? Or
you know what I mean? I think let's talk about it offline.
You look like you have a budget. You incent me, so I think you should adopt us.
Stop.
Even your makeup is expensive. So maybe you should adopt us.
And then, Bonnie, tell us more about the magazine.
It's beautiful. It's great. Currently, we have Masasa, Bangeni, and Bongo.
Yes, I saw that cover.
Who are the lead actors on Heart of the Hunter on Netflix. So we are on our 19th issue, and it doesn't feel like we are at 19 at all. It feels like we just started. Our first issue was with Meslane Damase. It was a very scary thing to do, to go public and say, okay, cool, this is me, I'm doing this thing. And also because a lot of people, sometimes even in publicity where you are the underdog, we know the story of the underdogs who are not easy.
No one really knows. Who are you? Who is this girl?
You know what I'm saying? And I like that. And I don't want to go around being like, I'm that girl. No, that's not me. It'll never be me. So having to, and also because I'm very introverted. So having to put my life out there because my Nunush is my life. It's my work. It's my creativity, it's my ideas, and I'm just like, okay, cool, let's go, let's press play. It's a very scary thing because also you don't know how people are going to receive it,
how they're going to critique it.
And the response so far has been really good. People love it. We've had amazing people like Casta Semenya, we've had Simpiwe Dana, so Lisa Paluva, we've had Rolando Mugwena, we've had Grant Kigana, Kermit Erasmus, Jordan Hendrickson, we've had Wengim Somi, Tatu Muweng, we've had Loshe Cooper interviewed Kim Engelbrecht, was our cover star. We've had Bianca Naidu, Clema Wisa, we've had Linda Mtoba, we've had amazing Teko Modise.
That's so interesting because it's people that we see all the time, right? That some of them we see them on TV, but we've never really heard their story because it's people that you wouldn't really necessarily find on a magazine cover.
Interesting. And I think for us, it's very important to find those people because I look at. Because I suppose our industry works with who's in the it goes of the momentary stuff. And we are not celebrity driven. We are story driven. What's your story? How are you different, and how are you adding value to your community? And also, why is your story worth telling? Who are you? Why does it matter? And what exactly are you saying? So those things are important to us. So it's not about how famous you are, how many followers you've got on Instagram. We don't care about that stuff. You can have 25 million. We don't care. But if your story also, and I think it's important to highlight, we do not have people that have, like serious crimes. So we avoid serious crimes. So I think this is also why it's become easy for us to get, these credible, important people, because they say, oh, you've done ABCD, I'd love, and I read your work and I love your work and I love how credible, and because we don't do gossip. If you can't verify it, we don't write about it. If it doesn't come from the source, we don't write about it. Also, if it's damaging to other people, we don't want to write about it. There are platforms that love that stuff. We don't do that.
Okay. And then why did you opt for digital?
Because print is expensive and I'm a child. And if you're listening, if you're watching this, please give me money. Please give me money. And I promise you, we are going to give you like an amazing profile. We need money. That's why I chose digital. It's cheaper.
Okay. Let's talk about branding. If I'm a small business and I'm looking to acquire your services, but I'm not really quite sure what my brand is, what I'm trying to put out there, what were some of the things that you sit and you talk to your clients about ensuring that they know what their brand identity is and how they can take that to the world?
I think it's really, you talk about something very important, because it's you have to have an idea of who you are. And I had a meeting recently with another company that we were working with. And one of the questions I asked this lady was, who do you choose to be in this moment? Who are you? Because that will help us develop who you say you are, right? And be able to sell you and be able to tell your story as best as we can. So the uncertainty, I know sometimes with creatives, it happens a lot that you are in a funk and you don't even know how you want to be, presented and how you want to present yourself or how you want to go outside. So, we do help you by asking the questions, helping you navigate yourself, journey back into yourself, because then you're able to give us exactly what it is that you need to convey. And we are able then to paint pictures with words and tell your story beautifully and in a safer, intentional manner as well.
Do you have, without mentioning any names, of course, you know what, client confidentiality is very important. Where incidents or stories that you can share of clients where you just like, I mean, this one though, how did you get yourself into this mess? And now I have to come here and fix it.
I've had a few of those, and surprisingly, it's women.
Really?
Yes, it's women. You'd think men would be difficult and all that. It's mostly women. I've had those cases, but nothing extreme, nothing I can't handle.
Nothing you can't handle. Nice.
Yeah, but I think you just have to have thick skin. You have to, and especially because we're younger women, sometimes people take advantage because they're like, oh, but I can get away with it, and you're young, and you just have to stand your ground and stand up for yourself and get what you deserve in the situation.
Let's talk about introducing digital and e-commerce into PR, right? A lot of things have happened. A lot of dimensions have changed how we look at technology. How do you think technology is being introduced into PR now? It was never there before. And maybe some of the things that you think are coming into the future that we are now ready for.
Yeah. There's a lot that has changed. There's a lot that has happened. There's a lot that's happening currently. And I think it's important for us in PR to keep up with the trends and also to know what to apply and what not to apply. I think with the education, we are always learning something. There's always something new that's being introduced into markets. And I think social media has played such a big role in kind of diminishing or rather elevating the role of PR. It depends on how you want to look at it. I saw this one time, Megan Trainor, she just got married and she wrote a beautiful press release, but it was written by a comedian. Something that had not been done before. It was funny, it was beautiful, it was witty, and it was trending on Twitter for days because it was a fresh take to PR, right? So there are always those new things that people, have to apply into their trade. And things like TikTok, for instance, there are now, it's I suppose, it's easier now to kind of control the narrative and tell your story without necessarily needing a Bonnie or a Maria McCloy or a Farrah Fortune to do that for you, because social media is there for the taking. It's just that the manner in which someone will choose to do it is going to be different from when it's a professional person doing it.
Yeah.
I just think that also the introduction of technology into how we work has also played a massive role in how we can get to reach other markets, which has made it beautiful, because now with the death of print, we are now online. It's easy for us to access a lot of publications overseas, have like a longer mailing list that includes other markets outside of South Africa. And also we've got a team in East Africa now, something that we would not necessarily have if it was not for like technology. So it's that implementation of or rather the introduction of tech into PR is very good for us.
Yeah, it's made global markets no longer seem so far away.
See it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back. You've spoken about money management, right? I want to know what you did with the first paycheck.
What I did with my first paycheck as what?
Whichever job you want to talk to me about.
No, give me a specific. I'm poor.
Your first job, what did you do? Taking back, like you put close, didn't you?
My first paycheck, I was 22? I was 22. I bought clothes.
I knew it.
As one would when they're young.
As one would.
I mean, I was a small baby.
I'm getting to it. I'm getting to my point.
Sweet.
So we obviously our money habits, right? We don't take into consideration how the way that we interacted with money in our young age is coming up and showing up as adults, right? As adult and as entrepreneurs, right? So how would you think some of the things that you used to do growing up, how did you think that propelled you or prepared you for how you manage money now?
I think we also have to factor in context and backgrounds. And I think it's not an umbrella thing that applies to all of us. So I know that for a lot of Black people our age, you have the pressure of saving money. You have to pay your bills. You have to give money at home. You have to do there's a lot of things that you need to do. And sometimes you're left with no money to save. And sometimes you're running a company. You have to pay people. You have to pay, for a gym membership, all of these things, and you're left with not a lot of money to save, right? So I think context is very important it's different scenarios for different people. I think my relationship with money has gotten better as I get older, right? Before, it's not like I was reckless. I just didn't have money.
So there's nothing to be reckless about.
There was nothing to be reckless about.
Fair.
But we try to be smart about our money choices. And also, I think outside of not imali being there, it was a matter of not understanding how to monetize my craft, my skill. So undercharging, and also sometimes being robbed, because people will tell you, oh, this is my budget, but this is not the budget that they would have for a certain individual or a man or a white person. You understand? So those things also come into play. So I think the education, and I remember Osisnoni Gasa did something very powerful where she went to different campuses teaching about the business of fashion, because she would go to like different campuses around the country, teaching them, fashion designers about handling their money, the management of their businesses, because that's something that they don't really get to learn. And that's something a lot of us creatives don't get to really learn as well until late in life when you've made like a lot of mistakes. So that education, I had to learn by experience, but like, oh, okay, I made a bad decision here. I need to do better. I need to, up my rate now. I need to ask for what I'm worth and not be afraid to say this is what I'm looking for. Because I think there was also that fear of what if they don't then
come back.
Back if I say no to this or right. But now that fear is gone, because I've been doing this for a long time and my work speaks for itself. And one of the beautiful things about, and I'm really blessed to, and it's such a blessing because I rarely have to go out and go pitch for work. A lot of times it's like, oh, somebody called me, said that you're the person, here's an email, so-and-so, I need your services for this. So it's never actively going out to go find work. But money management is such an important thing that people have to learn very early.
Yeah. You touched on word of mouth. I would assume that PR, that's exactly what it's about, right? It is the recommendations that keep your business running, because
100%.
people need to have seen your work.
Yeah.
People need to know that you can do the door. It is a door to door. Nobody actually, how many times do you get a call from somebody who just looked at your website and said, versus somebody actually recommending you?
100%. So it's a lot of people that, like I said, it's a lot of recommendations. It's really people that went through the website, funny enough. And we've had international people, clients, from Germany, from North America, who say, "Hi, we need your services for this." And sometimes you ask, like,
How did you
find me? And they're like, "Oh, a friend recommended, or I just went through your website and I thought, okay, you'd be the right fit for this for this job." So it just varies, but also, like, word of mouth is so important. But also, you have to give quality work. You have to give a quality service to people, because how are they then going to come back?
Yeah.
Because you could be appointed because you're referred and people said nice things about you, but then you have to maintain that. You have to live up to that word.
Yeah.
So you cannot drop people, and this is why it's so disheartening when you say Amanda is amazing, and you go out looking pretty in a short dress.
Yeah.
What day is it today? On a Wednesday evening, So you have to live up to the hype as well.
Okay. Who needs a publicist? Who needs to acquire your services and don't even know it?
Everyone. I mean, every business needs a publicist. If you are an artist, you need a publicist. If you are a designer, you need a publicist. If you are a restaurant, you need a publicist. If you are a charity organization, you need a publicist. Soccer stars, they need publicists. Every single person, because you are a business and you've got you need a sales agent or a booking person, right? You need a publicist who's going to then tell the good news, disseminate this information about who you are and why it's important for people to buy into your business and buy into who you are, because sometimes you're just an idea, and how do we then make this idea as beautiful? And people look at Tyler and think, oh my goodness, overnight success. I remember we worked on Tyler's first drop, and now people are just like, oh my God, she just came out of nowhere. She's been working. So publicity is about watering, like, planting the seeds and keep watering and hoping that someday someone is going to find you. And it's not just an instant thing.
Overnight,
sometimes you're lucky that you pitch once and then it's, you just,
sky's the limit. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't happen like that. It's a constant, work. So, and also it's very important for people to understand that when you approach a publicist or a publicity company, you need to be patient and understanding of the process. You will not land a Grazia Italia or a Vogue or a GQ cover or even a Nunush cover sometimes without having put in the work.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to do the work. You have to have earned your stripes. You have to. It's not just an instant thing. There's a planning process. I know people want results now. I want to be on TV right now. There's a process. It takes time. And I mean, and obviously our stories are varied. If I'm talking about a law firm, what is the story? What are we talking about? There has to be something tangible that we're going out with.
Yeah.
And and also, like, understanding, the competition in the news space, in the media space, there is so much happening around us in the world. So if they say that some royal person is missing, the royal missing person is going to take center stage over your story. And that should not leave you thinking that you're not enough and your story is not worth telling. It's just a matter of understanding the timing as well. And I think publicists as well have to communicate better and, effectively with their clients.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so let's move now to entrepreneurship. Knowing what you know now, would you do it again?
100%. It's so important to be free. To be free of, it's challenging. Running a business is very challenging, but you own your time. It belongs to you. You decide what you want to do and where you want, to go with your business. It is challenging. I can tell you now, I've been through the most with it, but I would do it again. I would absolutely do it again. It's worth it. Lovely. I want big business too. If you are a big business, hire this girl.
Actually, let's plant that. Where can people get hold of you?
Okay, so to get hold of me, you send an email to bonnie@azania.co or Azania, or rather at Azania_public on Instagram. If it's for Nunush, it's Nunush online, at Nunush online, or Nunush@azania.co. Adoption there, sister company. Yeah. Oh, we have a YouTube channel. It's called at Nunush online.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Publicist to the Stars, Bonnie.
Woo!